We're going to start out by looking at some hexagonal fences. What does that word hexagonal mean? There's a root word in there that'll help us. Hexagonal. Jackson? What? Oh, it's made for. I looked at it. Sorry. Jackson, do you know what hexagonal means?
Like shaped like a hexagon.
It does mean shaped like a hexagon. We can see in that root word, we see the word hexagon. Show me with your fingers, how many sides does a hexagon have? You should have 6 fingers up because there are 6 sides to a hexagon. That's one of the attributes or rules of a hexagon. It has to have 6 sides. If we're building a fence, what are we going to be measuring? If I'm building a fence, what am I measuring? Michael?
The perimeter.
The perimeter. What does that mean?
The outside of something.
The outside of my shape. Does it make sense to fill in the whole yard with fence?
No.
No. Your fence goes around the outside of your shape. Lincoln, what you doing, love? Okay, can we finish, please? At the top of your paper, you see an example. It says 1 hexagon perimeter is 6 inches. They're saying that each side of that hexagon is 1 inch long. So next to that picture of a hexagon, we're going to write 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch.
The hexagons on here look like.
I figured it out because I knew that my perimeter was equal to 6 inches. And I thought of the equation 6 inches is equal to box plus box plus box plus box plus box plus box. All of those boxes are my sides. I knew that my sides all together had to equal my perimeter. I just had to figure it out. Yes?
Something about the hexagons.
Uh-huh.
The hexagons on here, like compared to yours, they're sideways.
Okay. If I pick you up and I turn you sideways, are you still Gwen?
Yeah. No. Upside down.
Still you. We know that shapes, even if I turn them a different way, especially with squares and diamonds, they kind of look like diamonds when they're turned sideways, but we know that they're still the same shape. Underneath that, we have a chart. It looks like this. It says hexagons and then the perimeter. The way you read this chart is like this. Each pair up and down goes together. So that first one, it says 1 in that hexagons box. You see that?
Yeah.
What was the perimeter of 1 hexagon? It's on that paper. 6. So let's go ahead and write 6 inches. We need to know what the perimeter is. Okay. The rest of my chart I'm going to figure out because it's going to tell me, okay, 2 hexagons and then what the perimeter is of that. 3 hexagons, the perimeter of that. We're going to keep going until our chart is filled, and I don't know if I have the same number, but it's okay if not.
You have 10.
All right, look at that second picture on your paper. Harper, what's that?
Do the 2 lines in the middle we connect.
Let's think about this. Let's think about this, Harper. So I've got my 2 hexagons. Harper's wondering, are we going to count this section? Close your eyeballs. Think about a fence. Would we put a fence across the middle?
No. Yes.
No.
No.
I would not put a fence across the middle of my yard. Open your eyes. When I am doing my fence, I am going to count here, here, here,
There's only 5.
here, here. Keep going because it's still connected.
Here.
Label the parts we're counting on your paper. 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. Label all the dimensions of the sides that we are counting. Yes.
This part is wouldn't be like,
Yeah, you're exactly right. If that was 2 separate yards, I would want the outside of my yard to have a fence. But this is not 2 separate yards. We have smushed it together and we're saying that one person owns the whole thing. That means it would be silly to put a fence all the way across the middle for no reason. We just want it on the outside. You should have labeled, I'll go back and label my dimensions.
Wait, so there's only 5 on each? For the perimeter?
So I only have 5 sides that I'm counting because that 6th side is squished in the middle. So what is the perimeter? It is still hexagons just smushed together. Yes. What is the perimeter of this new shape that I've made by squishing 2 together? Count it. I should see lots of hands. Perimeter is not that tricky, especially because it's just labeled. Finley? 10 what? 10 inches. Look that at our chart. Find where we're measuring 2 hexagons. Now we're going to write 10 inches.
I'm finished with the whole thing.
All right. We did 2 hexagons. What if we had 3 hexagons? Are we going to count the inside?
No.
No, these sections are on the inside. We're not going to count those. Label the outside of your perimeter. Label that outside shape. All right, let's count our perimeter with me. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 what? 14 inches. Let's go back to our chart. 3 hexagons is worth 14 inches.
So only went up 4 from the last
I
thing.
did only go up 4 from the last one. That's interesting.
It went up 4 from the first
It
one.
went up 4 from the next one. That's an interesting pattern we are noticing. Let's look at number 1. Look at question number 1. Question number 1 says, record the, what is the meaning of perimeter? Number 1, what is the meaning of perimeter? Write a sentence telling me the meaning of perimeter. Underneath number 1. Both Michael and Bladen have made this discovery. On the first one, we were just looking at 2. Bladen realized, hey, we were only counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides on this side and 5 sides on this side because that 6th side we weren't counting for either shape.
For the sake of that, the other one.
Michael realized, hey, the same thing happened on this shape. The same thing happened on this shape, but look at that middle shape. It's got 2 sides where it is overlapping. If you're not looking at the board, it's going to be hard for you to think about this. They're missing this side and this side. So that middle shape is really only counting 1, 2, 3, 4 sides because those middles are gone. that helps us see what that pattern's gonna be. Bladen?
Did you know the right or the left is 4?
How could the right or the left turn into 4?
If you had to, you could, if you had 4 and you put one in the middle, I mean, one on the other side. The other one would have 0, but you could switch the middle one would have.
So I'm going to repeat what Bladen just said because I love it. He said, I'm imagining, I'm going to stick another hexagon right here, right on the end. That's going to make this one no longer 5 sides, but 4, because this side right here is going to be doubled. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
So far, so good? Kind of? Okay.